All right, everyone.
Hey, everybody. How
We
you
we are in the back lounge
are?
on our tour bus, getting teched up here for our podcast episode.
Yep,
You'll notice that is not Susan.
that is not.
That's not the back of Susan.
That is not.
Susan is off, and because we thought we'd talk about we're getting on the tour, and we're going to talk about our homes in Ohio when we lived in Ohio when Susan was 1 and 2 and 3 years old.
Yeah. She really she won't remember anything, and all the memories that she speaks of as if she was kind of really there are memories that we have put into her head.
Yes.
And we've told her everything about there, and she's kind of been reliving it her whole life. So me and Bob are going to be on here today because we were like in the wheelhouse of kids with a boat and
You did crazy things.
crazy things.
Ohio was great.
And we had, so what did we have in Ohio? We had two houses, Smith.
Smith Street
Yeah.
and West End Avenue or West Park Avenue
Yeah.
or something like that. That was the one near Myers Lake in
Yeah.
Ohio. Now, Susan's born, she's a year old on Smith Street, so she knows nothing
Right.
about the cherry tree in the back,
Oh my God.
about the lady in the neighborhood who yelled out her back door. They logged out she was crazy.
Yeah. She was actually, she had lost her son. And
Yeah, something happened.
that loss, I think, drove her crazy. But it was
Yeah.
always at the same time of the night. It was about 6 o'clock. Seemed like the sun was going down, and she'd hit the porch, and you could hear her up and down the neighborhood.
Now, from Smith Street, this is the life of the Duber Theater, Mother Gooseland. We haven't hit Little League yet. That's over on West End Avenue.
That's right. That's
with
right.
Yeah, we're in just bringing everyone down to Mother Gooseland, which is a place down from Smith Street that you came in and it was amazing. It had all the things from Mother Goose, the lady in the shoe, and
Yeah, yeah.
but built in life size
Yeah,
reenactments of
yeah,
them.
yep. And it had a little creek going through it. And when we would go there back in the day, I mean, I don't know if they called homeless hobos, but there was a culture of hobos that traveled on the trains, and there were always a few right there by the troll bridge where the troll would, in the nursery rhymes would come out and go, "Hey, don't pass over this bridge."
Now
Anyway,
we're young. I
yeah,
mean, I'm in the fourth.
we're at
We're
St.
like
Louis.
we're like 10, 11, and 9, and
Yep.
we're allowed to go out the door
Yes.
and go to this place, Mother Gooseland, or
Yeah.
to the movie theater without any parents.
Yes.
We're very, very young.
Yep.
Even Barry, so the Duber Theater,
Uber, 10 cents.
unbelievable, 13 cartoons
Yeah,
before
yeah.
the triple feature even began.
Dude, and it was either 10 or 15 cents. I can't remember.
It was, it was
But
just
it was cheap, man.
enough for your parents to go see a triple feature and 13 cartoons. That gave mom an afternoon off.
She actually
If you
had
think about it.
yeah, and I'm sure she napped because mom napped a lot.
Now, I have isolated memories of one of my memories. Oh, there were monkeys. There were some kind of baboons and monkeys in Mother Gooseland. We went and looked at them. They had them in cages, like in a zoo.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
small corner of it was a zoo. But my biggest memory was we were going to the Dewar Theater, 13 cartoons, and we are going to see The Mummy and and other two other horror movies.
Right, right.
Like I'm in the fifth grade, so I'm going to be like 11. Paul's
First grade.
but Paul's like one of the adults. You know, if I'm in fifth grade, you're in third
Right, right.
because we got to bring Barry. Barry's the one who's in the second grade or whatever. Bring your brother Barry. Bring your brother Barry. So they entrust Barry with the two of us. I'll never forget it because, but it's not like, of course, well, they let us go because we went everywhere without any problem.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was a calmer time of life.
So just John and Susan. Susan's just born. Mom's maxed out with John and Susan in diapers. I'm sure. Take Barry. Okay, I get
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So we take off with Barry, and we get there, and we get through the 13 cartoons. This is terrific. 13 cartoons is great, and everyone loves it. And it's, it's Chip and Dale.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's
And Elmer Fudd and the
if you got
Bug.
if you got a Casper cartoon, that's a
Yep.
bonus.
Or Road Runner.
Roadrunner, always Roadrunner or Hackney Company.
Yeah.
But so then the first feature of three. Now we're going to be here for hours. So we love it. First feature starts. It's the Mummy. The Mummy, where the guy's coming out of the lagoon in the intro, and he's all wrapped up in tape. And it's like,
yeah.
and he comes out. Barry sitting between me and Paul. I know this because we hadn't put him between us. And he starts wigging out. Barry starts freaking out about this mummy coming out of the lagoon.
Yeah.
Because remember, he's only 5. I don't know what he is, but he's way young.
And the reason he's there, and I think
Or
if mom,
4.
if mom had looked at the, what movies we were seeing, maybe she would have held him back. But
I don't think they cared.
I think they liked the idea that they felt confident enough that where we lived in Canton, Ohio, was mellow and
safe, I guess,
and safe, and she
apparently
wanted
safe.
anybody that could cause her trouble was out of there. And even Barry was, not old enough really, but he was young enough to where he was just too old to be with the babies. He was still a baby.
They were babies.
But, so we took that Barry off of mom's hands, I'm sure.
And she could have heard 13 cartoons and thought, oh my God, it's another hour. What do we know? Where can handle that?
Right.
And she probably didn't know what was up for that. Oh, they didn't care if Barry got scared at the movie.
Right, right.
How could you bring a brother to a movie? You guys, I think nobody cared.
And so we had to pull out, right?
Oh, yeah, we had to leave. The people were like, get that kid out of here. Oh, we were so mad. And I mean, Paul's young. He wasn't. We were kicking his butt back home, but we were so mad at him and brothers, that he did that to us.
Yeah, for sure. And then there was that cherry tree, and we didn't own that cherry tree. A guy down the road owned that cherry tree
down the driveway.
And Dad offered all of his children because when the cherries are ripe, you got to pick it. And this guy, and so as older kids anyway, me and Bob and Rich and Bill, we were all up in that tree, and we were bagging cherries, and I'm sure Dad worked a deal out. Well, give me half of the cherries,
I think so
we can feed the kids.
Because at one time we came up when we first moved there, and no one was dealing with the cherries. They're on the ground. They're all over the ground, but it was a great cherry.
Yeah. Now,
must put something.
And I could be mistaken, but did the guy that owned the cherry tree have the gun range in his basement?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Okay, because there was a guy that we knew in Ohio who Dad knew, who had a range down in his basement just to shoot with,
That's okay. Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. And
but we're gonna make a move now that's gonna change our life.
Right after Dad, though, but right there in Smith, Dad decided to bust the wall out to make a bigger kitchen dining area. And man, he just put smashed on and he went to slamming this thing down. The guy was pretty good. I mean, he really.
Well, you guys got good. He got it from
Rich and myself, we were real good carpenters, and I was a great painter.
John's pretty good too. Johnny boy can do it.
Yeah. Oh, and John is.
He can go upscale. He can build you.
He's a custom furniture maker.
Yeah, you want a 12-seat dining room elegant table.
Yeah,
John can make that for you.
John actually made me an armoire, and it was great because we were living in La Crescenta. John made the armoire. He brought it over, but it was in one piece, and it was just gigantic. So I had to take all the windows out of my bedroom, and me and John pushed that thing through the bedroom into the bedroom, and we actually got to lean it up, and then it was great to have. And then when we moved off of that house, I cut it in half. So I took it right, before the dresser drawers, and then the armoire goes up for the TV or whatever. I cut it all right there, and then we were able to get it out of the house normally.
Now,
he did a great job.
He does really good work. I'll tell you people something. John's not in the Beach Boys anymore. Now he's doing stuff with Vicky. You guys are getting wind of his where they're appearing. They're doing stuff. It's great. They have project. I bet he could be commissioned for a $4,000 10-seat dining room table, right? It'll take him a year probably.
And he'd have to go back to their home in Malibu because that's where his table saws and all of his gear are.
Oh, God. So Smith Street.
So
back to this.
Just one more thing. I'm so sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. It's your podcast too.
Yeah. So it's Smith Street now. My dad, it becomes a friend, and it could have been the guy that owned the house. But this guy who owned the house had a daughter, and this daughter was into horseback riding. And so there was one time that, I guess Dad says, hey, you can go horseback riding. And I really thought her name was Barbara. I know Mom is, but I think her name was Barb. Anyway, and so I said, oh, man, I'd love to. And so the next day, I remember we went out to the stables, and she was like all dialed in with her hats and all this, and she had her horses. and it was really a great day. But I never got on a horse.
You're probably too small.
I might have been, but man, I was sitting there going, man, is anybody going to ask me if I want to ride? And nobody ever did. And it was kind of a wah, 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 wah for me. I was very excited.
One last memory of Smith Street because they all disappear except for the Cub Scouts. We were in the Cub Scouts on Smith Street,
and Mom was there.
And Mom was the den leader.
Yes,
And also at St. Joseph's School, which we went to.
Yes.
There was a talent show that I don't know. Me, Mom, and Bill were in.
Yeah.
Somehow we won it, singing "Rock and Roll and Ocean." But the real memory I had was I caught Mom at a real bad time. Now look, Mom could walk a fine line and switch to anger. So I came in. Like in the fourth grade.
Yeah.
And I accidentally, they smoked back then. You smoked in the house, you smoked anywhere you wanted to. And our parents were smokers all day, every day.
3 packs a day, both of them.
They bought cartons of cigarettes, like 5 of Pall Mall. No filters. This is the real deal.
It is.
But it was what it was for us.
It was. We never.
So I'm in the living room. I accidentally bumped an ashtray. Now there's ashtrays everywhere. I bumped an ashtray and it fell on the floor and broke. And Mom looked at me. Is this her and me? It was one of the most frightening. Is that what you want to do? Something like that. Is that what you want to do? I'll show you how to break ashtrays. And she went through the whole house smashing ashtrays while I had to watch her do this, freaking out. And she broke them all. And it ended, nothing happened to me, but I'll never forget it.
You caught her at a bad time.
And she may have said, now get out of here. And I probably just took to the cherry tree. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. But, oh, man, we're going to move from Smith Street, though.
Yeah. Did we, when we were at Smith Street, did we walk to school? I remember, I thought we walked straight up the street in St. Joe's.
Yeah. Was it one on Autonomy Street? What was that?
Well, that's
highway in Ohio.
Oh,
Big highway. We had to walk that.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think we did.
Yeah, I think we did.
No one drove us.
I remember.
I definitely remember walking from when we moved Washington Avenue. That was crazy.
Right, that was a walk. But this particular Smith Street, I remember we had been given a folder back of like, whatever papers, and they were all graded, and it was like there was no online where your parents knew what you were doing every day, and and I didn't really do great. I was really not a very good student. So what I thought would be a good idea is to bury this thing in the snow, and so on my way home, I just pushed it down. It must have had 6 inches on the ground. I pushed it underneath there and went home and just forgot all about it. And then spring came and the snow melted.
Sure.
And Bill and Bob and Rich, they were coming because they were older than me. And then the snow melted. Little did I think that the snow would ever melt. I thought it was buried for life. The snow melted. These guys picked this folder up and they knew what I had done because they knew. And they came home and they were going, Paul, hey, dude, here's your folder. And then they threw it on the table, and it looked like it had been buried for 3 months. And man, Mom looked at that and she goes, "What is this?" And man, I was in hot water then.
Yeah, you could get in trouble for something that happened a long time ago.
And yeah.
And that was in the winter, Mom. That was when it snowed. Well, now it's the spring.
Yeah. But just to tell them one last thing.
Yeah, there's one last thing I remember now, too.
So you're thinking, hey, you guys are in the Navy. What the heck are you doing in Ohio? There's no Navy in Ohio, but there was a Navy recruiting office, and Dad had taken, a new duty station, and he was going to become a recruiter, a naval recruiter.
Yeah,
and from that point on, we got these really cool Air Force book covers, and we were pretty dialed in, and the Catholic schools wanted you to cover the books.
Yeah, those were.
And we used to do, grocery bags and stuff, and then all of Dad's a recruiter, so he's got all this signage that he wants to make it look all exciting for the kids that don't know any better.
Those were nice.
Yeah, they were nice. And so Dad was a Navy recruiter in there. And then we moved from Smith Street, and it felt like we had been sent to heaven.
Yeah, I got one more Smith Street.
Do it.
So we found these trees all over the place. And we don't know what Buckeyes are. We find these trees, they're all over the place. What they have, and no one talks to us. You investigate and you learn all on your own. So these trees are there. They got these green things, so it's kind of spikes coming up. But you do that, and they're not sharp. Those aren't sharp.
No,
and then we're looking at them, then you break it open.
Hear it
inside. Was this brown, smooth, perfectly formed, like a pearl in a clamshell.
So beautiful.
And later on, we're going to be told, those are the Buckeyes. That's why it's called the Buckeye State.
Yeah.
Well, what they were weaponry to us. Because we would get in position, we fire these things at each other, hitting each other with Buckeyes all the time. Or if you want to bug someone on the walk home, you grab some Buckeyes off the tree.
Absolutely.
Firing them. But I remember
They were the best.
and then you collect them, you get mom, and you make ornaments.
She showed us how to bore through the middle.
Yeah,
It's like these
acorn
necklaces.
things. We'd have acorn.
Yeah, yeah. It
So
was great.
You know, that's it.
I love those
I'm
things.
done with Smith Street now.
Yeah,
totally
that's great.
done.
We pretty much wrapped up Smith Street. The only other funny thing I will say about Smith Street, and that I remember, is for whatever reason, Dad decides. Now I have to rethink this. Dad decides he's going to golf. And so he starts.
Smith Street.
Yeah,
I remember that.
think Smith Street, because he had these wiffle balls, that his practice balls were wiffle balls.
Oh, okay.
And they weren't going anywhere, and he'd just be smacking them and smacking them. And if you knew our dad, you would, and it's too bad because they were so young. They were normal in a lot of levels where, like, Dad, he loved, when we were in Newport, he loved playing football for the base. He was the
upper 20s.
he was the hiker.
They just had kids young.
Yeah, yeah.
So they were young.
They were young, and so, but when we think about, like, oh, Dad, a golfer was not, but me and Bob, we loved golf and we played it.
We got it from somebody.
So yeah, we got all that stuff from somebody, but yeah, it was wild, and the ride there was wonderful from Newport to Ohio.
Yeah, we loved it, but we missed the ocean.
We did.
That's
we missed
for sure.
water for sure.
Because we came from a naval base where Dad was on the destroyer.
Yeah,
We're going to go back to it, but we'll talk about that later.
yeah.
But we're going to move from Smith Street now because we probably need a bigger house.
We do. You know what? And I think Dad and Mom thought, look, this is a little too far in town. We need to get a little
Tight.
more out in the urban area where we don't worry about these kids if we don't see them.
Yeah, because they don't see us.
Yeah.
So they move us on. It's either West Park Avenue, West End Avenue, out there, but it's like
West Park.
when you turn off the street, you go to West Park. I think it's Park 2.
Yeah.
It's a long road. And the first house all the way down on the left is going to be the house we're moving into. And to the right, all along this road to the right, all down to the very house we have and continuing beyond, is a lake to the right of us with an amusement park directly across on the other side of our house. And we're on the far side of the lake. The amusement park's on the other side.
Yep.
With music coming out of that place 24/7. The music of the amusement park is coming at us 24/7, and it's never going to stop.
Nope.
It's going to be the soundtrack of living there.
It's Myers Lake
Especially at night.
Amusement Park.
At Myers Lake Amusement Park.
Was across Myers Lake. We were on this side of Myers Lake. The amusement park was on the other side. And
What do boys do when you're not even teenagers yet. You're coming up on preteen. Some of us are.
Yeah.
How do we navigate the lake? How do
Yeah.
we get to that amusement park? Because we knew one thing.
Yep.
Not a soul was going to take us.
Right.
It just didn't live like that back then. You didn't think, oh, Mom and Dad will take us to the amusement park.
Right.
Mom and Dad are busy.
Yep.
Whatever they're doing, they're not doing anything with us.
No.
Unless we get in trouble.
I think because here's what happened. Rich had his own, and me and Bob we were kind of like one person anyway, so we didn't want our own flatbed boat. But Rich had one and we had one. Look, Dad had to have gotten them.
He did.
He would have
rowboats.
gotten them. Yes.
Started with rowboats. We're going to build a Tom Sawyer raft, but it started
Yes.
with rowboats.
Yes. Yeah.
We need to up our game.
And we needed to get across that lake.
Now, we used the raft to navigate. We did make a cool with the pole and everything, guys.
Yep.
But you had to stay close to shore. So we navigated this large lake, the circle of it,
Yep.
on our raft.
Yep.
But to get to that amusement park, we rowed. We were good rowers, man.
Yep.
We each took an oar and we
did.
zipped across that lake.
We did. We did.
That's going to be a big deal. This Paul in my bedroom. So we got a long bedroom, the length of the house, and it's a narrow and a long rectangle with one bed
At
over
either
there,
end with a window.
one bed over there. We
With a
sat
window.
window.
Yep.
I must have pulled rank. I got the window that opened to the amusement park.
I'm sure you did.
And you could peek out and see the roller coaster.
I think there were a few times we might have slept together and I got that view.
Yeah, there's a roller coaster there that you could hear. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And we got into lake life.
Yeah.
I'm talking winter.
It was crazy. And then summer came and that raft summer, me and Bob, we built a raft.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden Rich, who, was he seemed like Jesus Christ as a carpenter because, man, he was so good at it. And he built his own raft. And so me and Bob, I remember, we're out with our poles. Oh, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And we're pulling, you know, and pulling. And all of a sudden, we see Dick.
He's coming.
And he's coming around a bush. And oh my God, he's got his own raft and he's coming at us.
And by the way, I'm going to tell you, by the way, because this is how Rich was. We had our raft, which is really just some logs put together. We didn't hold it. It's just a flat thing.
Yeah.
He's got a little hut.
We
on
did.
his raft.
Oh my God.
He's gonna make a better raft.
Yep.
And remember Kim Howard, he lived down there.
Yes,
He messed around with us too, like that. He was a good friend of ours. It was a kid we met down there.
It was crazy. Yeah.
But the summer was rafting, fishing,
Yep.
and swimming. Now we were gonna learn to swim in this lake. This is where we're all gonna learn to swim. And our dad just put us in one of those rowboats, took us out because Mom said, "You get that butt, they got to learn how to swim." And he threw the four of us older guys into the lake. This is how he taught us how to swim. And we dog paddled. Everyone, I don't know, we all figured out dog paddling immediately.
I think somebody went, "You just do that and kick those legs."
Because unless we did it as kids, I mean, I'm in the fifth grade, so whatever. I could do it, yeah. But it all
or something.
Yeah. Back to the rowboat. Yeah, but then the winter's going to come. That lake is going to freeze over, and that's when we got the skates, the shovels, and the hockey sticks and the hockey pucks.
Yep.
Which we wanted every Christmas in Ohio.
Yep. Because that lake froze over,
freeze over, guys.
And it was
a. People think we exaggerate on this. It was a 3-mile walk to St. Joseph's School. We moved further away from the school.
We did,
and we still had to walk.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we set out an hour. It took an hour, I think, maybe longer.
Yeah, it was crazy.
We had to walk it. Now in the winter, if the lake froze over, we could cut that walk in half. But the lake's going to be frozen all the way over.
Yeah.
So it could be frozen a third of the way out. We got good at gauging it's not frozen over. So you don't waste time going a third of the way out to find out it's not frozen over. Yeah, you're going to be late for school.
Yeah, we would check that ice to make sure because we wanted to get out there and build our hockey rink, and so it had to be thick enough.
It had to be so thick.
So we were constantly checking it, and then when it was like thick enough, we went, "Yeah, doing it."
And then we could walk across to school. That fixed a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
me and Paul are going to begin our baseball careers on this street. And in this house,
pretty much.
It's definitely, we were right at the right age. And Paul, even at the first time we both went out, he's going to play up. So we're always playing together because Paul could play up. He's like, where do you see the younger brother?
He's really tall.
We played a farm team. Everyone was on the farm team. Rich, Bill, we were all on the farm team. I remember the picture. Now, Bill and Richard are going to stop baseball immediately. They're not into it. They know this about themselves, apparently.
I guess.
Because me and Paul, we want we're into it 100% for the sport, but we want that uniform too. Because in the farm team, we had a T-shirt. That's not baseball.
Right.
And we went to Whipple Heights
with that little insignia on the front.
With the green and white. Was that their color?
Whipple Heights was green and white.
And then we entered the Little League.
Yeah. We were the Knights.
The Knights.
Knights.
The Knights.
Yes. And it was right on Whipple
It was heaven. It was heaven. I remember one day, we loved it so much. One day, the day of the game, you got up and you dressed in your uniform.
All day.
Whatever the time of the game was.
Yep.
Just little boys.
Yep.
And we sat, I'll never forget, and I kept these good, sharp memories, not of everything, but the ones I have are sharp. Me and Paul are on the porch in uniform, sitting on the railing, of the porch. But coming right at us is a storm. We're just sitting there looking at the clouds.
Ready to go, though. Ready
to ruin our day and take our game away. It comes at us and it comes at us and it came right over us. It just started pouring. And we both started crying.
Yeah.
Because it was over.
We knew it was going to be
no game.
Yeah.
So that's what it took.
No game.
It was a real good community too.
It was a great place. And so we were living on West Park Avenue. And so they were building a shopping center down below us off of a cliff. And then there was this huge mounds of all the trees that they cut to build the shopping center where Dad was eventually going to have his office right there in that shopping center. And he was going to be the Navy recruiter in there. For us, it was a little kind of close. We were used to having him leave every 6 months and being gone for a long time. But there was no West Pack or any East Pack where the Navy, you go out for 6 months and then you come back and you're off for 6 months and then you go back out. Dad was home all the time now. And
But what he did do, which
that
was
great.
really good news, says for two reasons. One was kind of weird.
Yeah.
He got a second job at McDonald's at night.
Yes.
So he took off at night. Dad's gone at night.
Yeah.
And he was a rough guy back in these years. So he took off for that job. Now in the morning, he used to, I don't know, either take him or they said, Bud, you take him. But he used to bring frozen French fries home.
Yeah.
All
And burgers.
and burgers. And
I
mom
remember it.
would cook this stuff up for us. I don't know if he was, helping his budget or they just
Yeah.
throw them away or Bud, you take them.
Right.
You know how restaurants are.
Yeah, I think even back then, if a hamburger or French fries
Yeah.
got too cold after the first cook, they put it all in, a vat. And I
Yeah.
think Dad just took it all with him because we'd wake up in the morning, man, and Mom,
They're ready to go. Even if we were early, 6 in the morning, Mom would get up, put them in the oven, and
Yep.
cook those French fries up.
yep,
We loved them.
yeah, we thought it was
We got into forts. We're totally
Oh,
into
my
forts.
God,
We
yeah.
started making down in that excavated site.
Yep.
Actually, was our baseball field.
right,
We didn't even have baseballs at first. We used anything.
right,
We played down there all the time.
yeah,
It was huge. It's going to fit a shopping center, so it's huge, and it's a cliff on the other side, and twigs and everything on the other side just
Yeah.
built up like, wow,
So
this place is
we
cool.
all went into those twigs, and me and Bob were building a fort, and Rich was building his own
You could
fort.
dig it out.
Yeah.
The twigs were so big, you guys,
Yes, you
that
could
you
see
could
each other.
go in and build a tunnel, and the twigs are still there.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and it was like in the winter, it was really cool because it could get very cold.
Yeah.
But it would make a fort down in that area.
Yep. And Rich made his fort, and it was always so much better than our fort. So he was trying to always get the babies to be on in his fort. But there was one day, and I remember it, man, and we were all down there, and our whole life, our mom would always say, "Hey, if a bee is near you, you just stand still. Don't you budge, and you'll be fine." Well, these twigs had been there a couple of seasons, if not 3 or 4. And so there was a gigantic bee's nest in there. And all of a sudden, we kicked it, and they were going crazy. And I'm screaming at Barry and John to stand still.
Barry's freaking
And
out.
Barry looks like he's got a bee suit on, but he doesn't. He's just got bees
Yeah, he
on
had to go to the
him.
hospital.
He had, what do you call it when you get that throat thing, the air thing?
Yeah, he had that.
Hypercalipolipid or something.
Yeah, when you get that, it was kind of an allergic reaction.
You get, and he got it. Look at, I got stung by 60 bees, and I had no reaction whatsoever. Barry, he got stung probably about 120 bees,
easily.
and they can remember I was sitting there. And I was all puffed up too, but Barry was, he was allergic. And man, they took him in that car and took him immediately to
I was in the
to the
backyard.
hospital.
I was a part of the danger group. But what had happened was we'd been in that thing all winter.
Yes.
Those twigs.
Yes.
That was our fort.
So we never
This
thought of it.
beehive. But anyway, I see these guys. I hear screaming, and they are running.
We did find
I
out
see that twig. It is. Remember, a shopping center. It's way over. It's on the other side. They're up with the twigs. I go, what's going on in the twigs?
Yeah,
And then they came running, and of
man.
course, this hive's just chasing me.
Yeah,
Whatever.
it
You know
was-
what they do.
Oh yeah, it was gnarly, man.
Yeah, they're swarming.
But we were standing there, and then I realized, hey, this is
Yeah.
bad information we got from these people. So I looked at Barry. I go, "Run, Barry, run!" And he was able to run out of there because that anaphylactic.
Oh, anaphylactic.
Yeah.
Reaction. Yeah.
And so that took
Yes,
a couple
well,
of pumpkins.
yeah.
So fortunately, he was able to run out of the twigs
Oh, yeah.
and get going towards home. And I know we
Into
made
the
it
car.
home. Yeah. And then Barry, man,
Yeah.
I guess Mom just looked at him and went, "In the car. Here we go."
That's
I'm going, "Hey, but I got stung too," but it didn't matter because I didn't react to him at
There were
all.
lots of kids. We met a lot of friends that had friends up and down the West Park, and
Yeah,
remember Gretchen and
Forrest.
yeah. And
Forrest. We thought he was cool.
but what was cool, the grown-ups must have been paying attention to us. We really had no place to go but the lake,
Really?
and
Yeah.
they started a project. Now we're going to start helping.
Yeah.
But they started a project while we were there. Now we always went down into this wooded area.
And they had
swinging vines.
Tarzan vines.
Yeah.
And we always played Tarzan down
Always.
there. And it was
We
just
were
a
there.
great place to go.
And over here, they decided to build a basketball.
Yes,
court.
a basketball
Yes, it was.
court. It was.
Couldn't
Yes.
believe it.
couldn't believe it either. It was crazy.
They asked us to lug things, and we'd lug things and stuff and do stuff for that basketball.
And I remember that we left really prior to us really being able to play.
We didn't super enjoy it. We didn't get to grow into that.
We did not.
But it was fun helping put it together.
We were going to go back to Newport at one point.
The other thing on the music side of things, now Bill and I are singing as a duo. We're very young, obviously, but this is where Dad's going to get involved, maybe for the very first time in any of this music part, because we're going to go on a TV show. Hurrah, we got there.
Hold That Tiger.
Yeah, Hold That Tiger. It was with Gene Carroll, Spotlight on Talent. I think it was called Spotlight on Talent. It was a show in Cleveland.
Yes.
So I'm in the 6th grade. I know this because I'm in the front row. Mike Quinn's right behind me, and then Mike Shady.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go on TV. Okay. Well, if you're in the 6th grade, everybody in your class knows you're going to go on TV.
Yeah.
So,
what year did you graduate high school?
67.
Yeah. So I'm in the 3rd grade at the same school.
So we're at St. Joe's still?
Yeah.
And I'm in the 6th grade. I had this teacher, Sister Anna Patrice.
That was Newport.
Sister Charles, who I watched from the 5th grade. I watched her knowing that's my 6th grade. I don't know nothing about her, but she looked like a witch. I was definitely afraid of her. But she ended up being the nicest teacher of all of them.
Yeah.
We couldn't even afford a class picture. They did the class picture.
Right.
And she honestly came, don't you have it? I said, well, we're not getting it. So we couldn't afford it.
Right.
And she gave me one. She gave me a class picture. I'll never forget that.
And Newport and St. Joe's. So I'm 4th grade now. And so I make my first communion. And then we all hear that the bishop is going to only be in this area of Ohio one time this whole year. And because that's when you guys got confirmed.
Yeah.
And they also had me get confirmed because the guy wasn't going to be back around. And we all had, one person had an Air Force guy, one had a Navy, one had an Army guy, and one had a Marine guy. And they were our sponsors, and they were all in their dress outfits. And I just remember seeing, we all had the military guys with us and as our chaperones, getting confirmed and, becoming soldiers of Christ. You got your scapulas at that moment. And it was a pretty big deal. And, would you say that we were really happy being Catholics? And
it was great Catholic.
Going to the Catholic schools. I loved it.
And we'll admit, at this St. Joseph School in Ohio, we had to start Monday through Friday every single day with Mass.
Yeah.
No, it abhors me as an adult. But for some reason, you're right. Back then, it was part of the gig.
It was.
You rolled with it. You kind of have donuts on the first Friday.
Yep.
They're going to get them to your classroom. You go to a glazed donut. And we love the Christmas play at this school. This is where choir singing is going to be
right
with all of us. And choirs, some of us going to be in and out of choirs now.
Yeah.
That starts there. Baseball choirs.
Were you and Bill friends? Was Danny Fitzgerald a musical friend of yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But he went to St. Joe's too. But Danny, we would go to his house. He got a guitar, I think, or something was going on. Or his dad had something going on.
And so he was a friend of the family's. And so one Christmas, Bill got a BB gun.
Yeah, that's who we hung with. Danny Fitzgerald.
Danny Fitzgerald.
There's some other guys.
I forget the other guy. It was a good friend of you guys. I remember, and Danny's as well. But man, so, and Mom always said, hey, don't shoot anybody's eye out. And I'll tell you, it was the craziest thing. But we were all playing in the woods, and Danny and Bill were firing BB guns, and somehow a BB ricocheted off of something and almost took Bill's eye out.
It ricocheted off a rock.
Oh, yeah.
Now, but the story we heard was that Danny shot Bill in the eye with a BB gun.
Right. Shot him in the eye.
There's no rock. There's no ricochet. Right. It was a long time.
It was.
And I can imagine Danny's going, wait, you shot Bill.
Yeah. Pretty awful.
But there was no more BB guns after that Christmas.
No,
there was the end of that. Tell you that.
That was.
But there were lots of guys. There was Bobby Noon. Bobby Noon sang in our band at the Boys Club. So that's Rhode Island.
Okay. Yeah, kind of carry Danny Fitzgerald, and there was
one other guy. No, he was back in Rhode Island too. He lived down. No, where the milk place was we went to, or was that?
That was West Park. Because remember when we went back to Newport, we stopped at Isley's that had these ice cream milk,
Yeah.
and they had
Yeah.
that chip chopped ham.
Yeah, we
And
know
then
that.
we
Yeah.
piled all that stuff
Yeah.
and drove back to Newport, where we
Yeah.
had driven away from.
It was great. Now we have no idea, and maybe you do. I have absolutely no memory, zero of Susan Cowsill, who's 1 years old, 2 years old, 3 years old. I joke about it on stage, but
Yeah,
it's absolutely true. I have no memory of Susan
yeah,
in any of this.
yep,
Because mom was just dealing with her, I guess.
yeah. We were outside
You know,
kids.
we're taking care of Barry and John even at a young age. We're doing that. And
Yes.
you can't trust us with too much because we're at the age in Ohio, we're into Tom Terrific, and we're naming every dog we have Manfred. And Paul and I are getting towels and running outside, and he stands in front of the tree, and I climb and I jump down to land in front of him so the towel goes up like Superman's skate.
Yeah,
And we're going to rate each other's descent from the sky.
yeah.
Because the guy in front pretends he doesn't know what's going on. All of a sudden, Superman drops it. You need to get that towel going up. Anyway, we did crazy things
We
like
did.
that. It
We
was
were
so
so
nutty.
stupid.
And man, with that lake, that we all survived the lake
The lake
and the
was great.
rafting and the rowboating and the everything we did at that lake with no supervision.
Yep, I remember the raft in the lake had a diving board on it, but you had to be able to swim to the raft.
Oh, right, over at the amusement
Yeah.
park, Marius Lake has a
Yes.
kind of a fake beach for everybody
Yes.
that we could sit on.
Yep.
And in the water, right out there ways, was this cool raft with a diving board,
Yeah.
but more of a platform built
Right
thing,
on.
like Newport off of Kings Park,
And-
and something like that.
And I was a little kid, but man, I wanted out there, and we did know how to swim. And Bob would be out there with the other guys and all that. And I just remember it took practically a whole summer for me to get up the chops to make that swim. And I finally did it and finally got on that thing. And then they closed down for the summer.
Yeah, you had to be able to get to it to use it.
You did.
Kind of a rule. You couldn't boat out to it.
No, you
jump
had
off
to
the
swim and swim back in.
Yeah,
It was
that's
just
right.
that kind of a thing.
But it was a great place to live for a few years. I guess everyone was glad to get out of there. I don't know why, but
I think because we were going back to
go back to what
Newport.
we knew.
Yeah, and going back to the ocean.
That Navy
Yeah,
and that life.
yeah.
And when we go back to Newport, now the real good life's going to start. It's going to go Wapping Road, Forest Avenue, Indian Avenue, Wellington Avenue.
Yeah.
Is that the sequence?
That's pretty much the
the
sequence.
four coming at us. Those are great houses,
Yep.
great homes.
Yep.
Even Wapping Road was nutty, buddy.
Yep.
Uh,
But we used to, just one more thing I'm remembering about Myers Lake, there was, I'm sure it's just like one weekend, but we slept outside on our rafts. And we woke up. I always remember it because when you wake up after having slept out, you're going, oh, this feels kind of weird. It was
Yeah.
an awkward feeling when you woke up. But we were, on our raft, and we would go all the way around, close to shore, of course,
Of course.
but all the way around that.
There.
This could take a full day. You could
Oh, you could spend
hours and hours.
and it's a
out there.
big lake. It was big, guys.
Yeah.
And I remember one day we were rafting and we went to the other side and there were these willow trees, weeping willow. I'll never forget them. But there were these three guys under them. And for some reason, we got them angry.
It might have been fishing.
But we're idiots too.
Yeah.
What do we? It's still Mars Lakes.
Yeah.
I was sixth grade. I'm a 12-year-old.
Right.
And these guys are yelling at us, and we stood up and we started going. They're using terrible language, yelling back at them.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they went for the rowboats,
Yeah.
and we went for the raft doors, and the race was on.
It was.
We got away from them. They
did.
either they stopped or we think they're going to beat us up. Man,
Yeah,
I'll never
yeah.
forget that. I'm
Oh
so
my
scared.
God.
I never boarded or rode that raft so fast.
Yeah.
We
I
got out of
remember
there.
telling Rich, and Rich got back on his raft to
Yeah,
go.
he's going to go find
if
him.
he could
Yeah, of
find
course.
these
He's
guys.
going to find him and say, well, you think you're
Yeah.
tough guys. But there were three of them. It
I remember
just,
that.
when they went for their boats, I thought, Jesus.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. Oh my
But
God.
so, Bob, do we tell the story about, the electric company having their big annual thing in Myers Lake, and some guy comes and says,
Well, I guess so, because, we did use the amusement park. We loved the amusement.
we did. And,
was cheap.
it was cheap, and we didn't get it a lot of the times, but we had been over there one time, and this guy was walking out of the exit, and, he came up to us and he goes, here, kids, here's some tickets,
Yeah.
And I started screeching, for everything,
The
you know.
roller coaster, it was a lot of
It was crazy, and it was just, and unbeknownst to us, it was the electric company day at the place, and so there really weren't any tickets. But anyway, they gave us these tickets, so we literally we're rowing back across
because
the lake.
we dare not use these without permission. I mean, they're ready to go.
Right.
We couldn't just stay there and use them. I don't know what got into them. We got to roll back and tell Dad
Yeah,
about this offer.
yeah, and I think that what we didn't realize was that these tickets that this guy gave was his daily tickets, and they had been punched. Okay, and so but we didn't see a whole punch. We just saw tickets, man. So we drive all the way back, and Dad, I guess not.
I don't know why
He's not the sharpest tool in the
but
shed.
he got in that boat with us.
And
he
we-
got in our rowboat. We came running in on
Yeah.
Dad Day. You won't believe what's going
We
on
got
at the
tickets.
park.
They gave us these
But
tickets.
we gave permission. I don't know why he had returned with us. We gotta get him.
No, I
Maybe it's like you'll get your dad. I mean,
maybe so. Maybe
we're
so.
young.
Yeah, you couldn't even get
So-
it. You weren't 18 or something.
I don't know why he did it, but Dad hops
did.
in the rowboat.
Yeah.
We're rowing him over,
Man, we're so excited.
and we pull up the boat, tie it up to the dock, and we're running ahead of Dad.
Oh yeah, we're
Idiots.
we're so excited. We're in for free. We're
We're
in
so
for free.
excited. We're finally gonna get there.
And Dad goes up, and we're behind him now, and he goes up, and he's turning around, and he's looking at us, and he kind of comes towards us. I think he might have slapped us on the back of the head.
He
and said,
didn't like
"Get in the boat."
anything. Our behavior,
Yeah,
the whole thing was
And these just
disaster.
really weren't tickets to get in. They were the tickets the person who gave them to us had used. But, Dad's saying, well, look at here. I got these tickets. And I think he was said, well, look at, but somebody's already used this ticket.
And we went charging ahead of Dad. We were so excited when we pulled the boat up. Oh, good, we're here. Follow us, Dad.
Yeah.
And we went charging up to this guy, charging towards him. It just went south. It just didn't work out.
It didn't.
Dad didn't like our behavior.
He
didn't
did
like
not.
the scene with the tickets. And
Oh my God.
waste of his time. It was like horrible. Horrible. The rowing back was a lot slower.
Oh, yeah. It was very tense because we didn't really know what was going to happen.
Because it's
When we
like
got-
he throws in the water. What's he going to do to us?
Yeah.
It just felt good getting to the other shore by that.
Exactly. I think his disappointment was probably the only punishment we got. I don't really remember
Yeah,
him
no, there was no
kicking our butts.
none of that.
I don't think there was at all.
He was,
But I think he was a little disappointed in me and Bob in the fact that I think he thought we might have been a little smarter than we were. And
we were too excited.
we did. We just we flushed and we went blank.
Yeah.
And all we
Right.
could see was being inside the park now, and all we
Yep.
needed is the old man.
And we had some hard stuff. Remember, this is the house of the dust at the bottom of the staircase, or is that
Oh no,
Third Street?
no, that is me and
That's-
you.
oh,
on the
that's
end
this house.
of the bedroom.
Yeah.
yeah.
And the house where Daddy freaks out.
Yeah.
He comes home one day, and me, Paul, and Barry, and John are sitting outside our mom's bathroom door. She's going to the bathroom. And it's like, whatever. We may have been waiting for the whatever. But he freaked out. I don't want my sons to grow up being gay. He goes, and he didn't use the word gay. He used the F word.
Yeah.
And we were faggots, I can tell you. That's what he said.
Right.
And he's smacking us around, hardening us up, right?
Yeah.
He's going to make men out of us.
Yeah. And he also disliked the way we were hanging outside Mom's bathroom door.
That's what freaked him out.
It did, because look at that. Can't they do anything without
Yeah.
their mom?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And the only other harsh memory, there's two more harsh ones. Paul was upstairs in the bedroom. Mom called him up.
Yes. Mom was downstairs. She called my name, and at the
And I'm downstairs.
well, you're upstairs, and you called. You said, "Hey, Paul," and I looked at you. She called you, Bob. You both did it at the same
well,
time.
he did too.
She called me from the stairs, but I heard Bob, and I said to Bob, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
To Bob, and Dad thought I had said, "What do you want?" to Mom, which you would never do.
He came up those
He
stairs.
just grabbed me and threw me
Yeah,
down
he
to the
grabbed him
bottom of the
and
stairs.
You don't do that.
And I kept saying, Bob, and Mom was even with me.
How's she looking for? Yes, mother. Yes, mother.
Yeah, he was looking for, yes, ma'am, I'll be down immediately.
Yes, ma'am. That's right. Yes,
But
ma'am.
man, but she kind of stuck up for me and said, no, he was talking to Bob. He was talking. Said Bob was Bedlam. Bob, it was Bedlam for like 10 minutes. It was like,
Oh, you think we got to what she wanted?
yeah.
But that was Bedlam. The other one was so here's the deal. So we got a basement in this West Park house. And we get cleaned up. So I don't know, one day we swept it, I guess clean up, but we left a pile of the dirt that we swept
Yes.
so that when you came down the stairs, you had to step over it after
Yeah.
the bottom step and
Yeah.
continue your way. Well, that doesn't bother us.
No, we had a ball doing
For
it.
days, we stepped over that pile of dirt.
Yeah.
Well, unbeknownst to us, our dad also was stepping over it,
Yep.
gauging who's going to clean this up.
Yep.
Okay.
And if I might come
Yes,
in
you
now,
may.
so all of a sudden, we're all out in St. Joe's, and we're all out in the the area, for recess. We're on the field, and there's Dad, and he's standing in his winter Navy suit, and he's leaning on the fence. And we saw him, and he goes, "Come here." And I guess you didn't have to say anything. He goes, "We're going home." And then and we're going, "What the hell's going on?" We didn't even think about the pile of dust.
No, well, that's the point. He
Yeah.
wants to make.
Yeah. And so he took us all home. Oh, it was a long day.
And he brought us downstairs, and of course, oh my
long
God,
day.
it's that.
Yeah, I know. And then when I saw that, I was going, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God."
Unbelievable.
Because he was a scary cat, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, to me as a little kid, I just was petrified of that guy. I was like,
Skirt him.
But eventually, Dad decides that he doesn't like being a Navy recruiter anymore, and he gets transferred back to Newport, to where he's going to be on the D-19 or the USS Yosemite, which was a tanker. And so we were going to be driving back to that. And I remember we all got kind of new clothes to drive back, and we had those things called duck pants, which were just up a little bit off your ankles. And I remember then we drove on the day that we were leaving. And again, Bob, where's Susan? I know she's there. She's in the station wagon
somewhere.
because we were driving back to Newport, and so
we scared her. I remember her crying,
dude. It's kind of weird.
Maybe we shipped her ahead.
Yeah, boxed her up and sent her. But we stopped by Isley's for the last time, and Mom bought a thing of chopped ham, and man, we drank chip chop hand and knee-high orange all the way back to Newport. But we were really happy to get back to Newport. But you know what? We missed Myers Lake, man. We love Myers Lake.
And listen, Newport, just so you know, is not the resort town it is today. This was rough and tumble Navy.
It was
Newport.
Navy.
Okay, this is what we're going back to, but this is what we love. This is what we left.
Yes.
And we're going from St. Joe's to St. Joe's in Ohio, back to St. Joe's in Rhode Island.
Man, crazy.
It goes crazy. But anyway, so that was our life. Susan was only going to be able to sit there like Gilda Radner, looking off like the baby did on Saturday night. Like, how was I there? I don't know.
I think she was a really good baby.
I think so.
He never cried and never fussed and never made it.
We never saw Mom. And that's why I don't know what she gave it all to Susan.
Yeah.
I can only come up with it. That's why we didn't see her.
That's why we could go to the
Triple cartoon show.
Yeah, Mom, we want to go to the Gooseland. We want to go to Gooseland. Yeah, go for it.
And it was great because that attitude from the parents is going to follow us to Rhode Island in terms of now we're coming of age where we want to get out.
Yeah.
And hey, just be back when the street lights go on.
Yep.
Like that's a money existence for kids.
Yeah.
With bikes.
Yep.
And a 12 by 3 mile island to navigate. That was just unbelievable. And we will, in the future episodes, bring you through some of those stories.
Yes. And what the great thing was, I remember just the initial, once we hit Newport, Dad was gone for 6 months. He got his butt on that D-19, the Yosemite, and it took off.
It was called, they went, quote unquote, went out to sea.
Yep.
They went out to sea.
On the West Coast, they call it a Westpac. And that was when, the big people, the big stations, San Diego, Treasure Island, and all those bases they go out for 6 months. And then on the East Coast, Virginia, Portsmouth Naval Base, and then Newport Naval Base, those big ships, they'd all go out and hang around, the South China Sea and all that.
Just guarding the world, but not too much was going on. So they're all really they're just ripping a night at Taiwan or something.
Yeah, getting tattoos.
I mean, if your dad, this isn't in the days of tattoos, okay? There's no tattoos everywhere, but our dad is tattooed from like ankle to neck. He's got a woman coming up his leg and everywhere. This guy, that was from a wild night in Singapore. Okay,
he never wore shorts, and he was embarrassed about him because he was hammered when he got them all, and so
can't get rid of him.
And he hated them so much that he made it quite apparent that we were never going to get a freaking tattoo. And so, and it's the same thing with the smoking. They smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day, and I think they were disgusted with themselves And so they just, became vigilant
Yeah.
about nobody's going to smoke and nobody's going to get a tattoo, and really, I got a tattoo eventually just to go, hey, Dad, I got a tattoo.
This is a different age. There's no woman in a bikini crawling up your leg.
No, my kids are on my arm, and my wife.
Stories are good.
Yeah.
Dad stories of, I think I lost it in Singapore one night. That they did this to me.
And it's funny because Dad was always out on those ships with our Uncle Donald Presley. Okay, he was my dad's mate, and he was, my mom, his wife, and Auntie Flo, and
Daryl Ford,
and Daryl Ford, but also George. George was in the Navy with him, and you can see. Well, we used to have pictures, but they died in.
These are young guys, people. Our dad was 18 or 19 when he had to go in.
Yeah,
wanted to go in, or either this or that. Maybe it was that.
Well, I think he wanted to go in because
to get away, get it,
and he needed shoes. Dad always told me. Yeah. He said, "You know what?" Because I was in the Navy, so he thought we were commandos, and he said, Paul, the Navy, that was the first time I ever had a pair of shoes, so it's good to be in the Navy, and that was just Dad's experience. But he loved the Navy.
I'd have gone, Dad, you've been buying me shoes since I was born. But that's okay. Yeah, I know what his point is. And probably family.
Yeah.
His first family.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
For sure that, because we know our dad's upbringing. There was no family there.
No, and he got 3 meals a day. He got fun and outfits,
clean clothes,
and got paid, to do it, and traveled the world.
Somebody controlled him. He had orders. He had to respect authority. And he learned a lot.
He was good at doing that too, and he expected out of us. And
well, that was the unfortunate part. He thought he could transfer that rescue of his life into how he's going to run ours, and man, that was not going to work.
No, it wasn't going to work at all.
So as you can see, we're in our lounge in the back bus. No one has walked in. And that's because it is daytime and they're in setting up. We're going to sound check now.
Right.
For people who wonder, where are they?
We should probably go. It's 1 to 2. It's 3.
We did good. All right. So we hope you enjoyed that little visit to Ohio with us, the Buckeye State. So
Buckeyes.
Susan being born there is a Buckeye.
Yep.
She's our little Buckeye.
And we finally got a girl. So we left Ohio happy because we knew Mom and Dad were going to be done having kids.
Yep. They're going to be no more kids. No more. Right, well, next song. We'll take you. Let's see. We go to Wapping Road. We'll pick it up there next week with Susan.
Yes, and she'll have a lot more memories.
She'll have a memory of that. Okay, everybody.
See you later. Thanks for listening.